as you guys all received, there was a fairly a reasonably lengthy list of questions. So we'll be asking some of the questions off of the list that was sent to you guys. Plus, there are a few situational debate questions we're going to be having near the end. And then at the end, there will also be time. We'll also open it up to audience questions. So there will be some questions. Yeah, so there's going to be a mix of questions that are going to be asked. So for the debate, we're going to be doing opening statements, which will last 1 minute. So everyone's going to get a chance to do one of those, and then following that for questions, everyone's going to have everyone will have a chance to give a 1 minute answer. If you feel the need to rebuttal or respond to someone else's answer, you're allowed to give a 30-second response, and that person in turn is allowed to give another counter 30-second response to your response, and then we will move on. So the way rebuttals work. Laura, I'm starting to echo again.
Oh,
off
no.
of your computer.
I think I have to do that or else they won't be able to hear me on Discord, because right now I'm muted on Discord.
Oh, strange.
And then I'll just mute myself on Zoom.
Okay.
I think that works better for the people watching.
Yeah. All right. I think you're good now. All right. So, oh, Laura, I can still hear myself through the. Actually, you know what? I'll just leave the. So, right. There we go. I just had to leave the Discord server so that it wouldn't echo as much. Sorry about that, everybody. So just to continue on, so the way rebuttals work in a debate is they have to be, or the way we're going to be doing it is that they have to be directed at, you have to direct it specifically at a candidate and a topic that the candidate was discussing. So yeah, keeping it on topic, keeping the debate moving forward and the discussion moving forward. Yeah, so other than that, the only other rule I guess we sort of wrote down is just, be respectful to everybody. You will be getting timed on your responses. So like I said, 1 minute opening statement, 1 minute answers, 1 minute, and then 30-second responses and rebuttals. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody good with that layout?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and then I guess so now that the live stream is going, we can just sort of announcements for the observer rules. So we'd ask everyone to be respectful and use respectful language in the chat. If you have any questions that you want the candidates to be answering, please direct message it to Manjot. She is in the chat right now, and then she'll pass the questions along to me, and we'll collect them in a docs and answer all of them at the end. Yeah, and then the other thing is that we ask that nobody spams the chat. Just like obviously like an answer, give them a little round of applause, but also just we want to keep the chat clear for just general discussion and stuff. All right, I think that's all we had to talk about. Oh, and one final announcement is that the campaigning period is actually being extended. So due to an error in the MSU's voting, they're just sort of having a bit of a turnover session, and some things got delayed. So campaigning will be roughly extended another week. So hooray, more people you can get to vote for you is the hope, right? Yes, all right. Also, candidates, I will be posting the questions that I'm asking you in the chat after I say them, just so that everyone has a chance to read them. So I guess though, but before that, let's start with opening statements. Let's start with Daniel, opening statement.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Daniel Tortis, and I would like to be your second-year rep. And I think I would bring a great deal of enthusiasm and many leadership qualities to this role. I have many new ideas for events that could be added to Student Appreciation Week, as well as the rest of the year. And I would like to add a lot of more casual get-togethers where you can get to know people and maybe possibly meet your future business partners. And my goal is really to enhance the student experience and continue to foster a sense of community here at the group. And volunteering in certain fundraiser events could be very beneficial to help people, especially during these tough times. And I will strongly support any efforts to help those afflicted by COVID. And I also want to make sure that due to the COVID restrictions, the DCS adapts and still allows for great events and clubs. And I really hope to try and make your voices heard through DMs, polls, as well as posting things within the DCS on my account. And I've met many people within DeGroote School of Business my first year, and I hope to meet many more and represent their best interests. Go DeGroote.
Thank you for that. Now we're going to move on to Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Payalunga. Some of you might know me as Pags. So I'm running to be your second year rep, but I'm sure you guys already know that already, or else you wouldn't be here. This is very unique experience for me, and I'm very excited to be here and debate on this platform. And I want to wish all my candidates the best of luck. And I want to let you know that my platform revolves around the idea of a balanced student life. So I want to make sure that your social, your work, and your academic responsibilities are all blended together, so that you guys can have a healthy and positive well-being. And I want to make sure that I'm committed to hearing your thoughts and coming up with a plan of action to make sure that you guys have those social bonds, especially during COVID. And I designed many online events that can take place in case physical presence in like the next year because of COVID doesn't play out. So I designed a lot of online events as well. And I hope that I can be your voice and help have a wonderful year with you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. Now, Shiza.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Shiza. I'm in second year IBH, and I'm super excited to be a candidate for your DCS lower year rep. And I think I would be a good representative because of my strong-mindedness, my leadership qualities, and my resourceful nature. Also, I have a really loud voice, so if there's something that you're too shy to say, I can probably screech it out for you. And with that, I do say what's on my mind, so I feel like that comes with a lot of pros being in an exec team. And my main focus for this year is to create more or enhance on the more of a safe space that DeGroote already is. So I've been thankfully like really welcomed into the DeGroote community. So I want to make sure I do that to the people who maybe who don't feel the same way and reach out to them as well. And yeah, I'll be my main source of like contact with everyone will probably be on my Instagram. And I just want to make sure I'm doing my part in giving back to DeGroote, like I said before, because they welcomed me into such a community and to create like a home away from home. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. And then our final candidate will go, Ryuking Wang, otherwise known as Harper Wang.
Hello everyone, my name is Harper and I'm running for second year representative. I'm an enthusiastic and outgoing person. As a second year commerce student, I hope to get involved and make an impact by working within DCS. In the upcoming year, my goal as year representative is to collecting feedback from student experience and make sure all your opinions are heard. I also aim to make impact by assisting the team to organize many kind of events and make sure you guys can achieve academic and life balance.
All right. Thank you. So we're going to move on to our first question of the debate, and that is just a nice simple one. What does the DeGroote community mean to you? So we're going to go in reverse order from opening statements. So we'll start with Harper.
I think that the DeGroote community means a lot to me. It is not only a place to learn knowledge, but also a place to develop myself. It is also a wonderful platform to get valuable resources and chances, a place to get involved and leave legacy on.
All right. Thank you. So then Shiza.
So I love the DeGroote community because I feel like it was a really easy place to just integrate into. Coming from high school, it was super easy to meet new people and get a lot of opportunities that I never thought I would be able to do. Like I never thought I'd be able to run for lower year rep or anything. So yeah, I do love the DeGroote community. I do want to make sure I'm giving it back to all those people who are putting efforts into it.
All right, thank you. And Jonathan, what does the DeGroote community mean to you?
The DeGroote community is a comfortable place where I've met an abundance of amazing people who share the common passions for business that I possess. You know, who else would I want to grind for an accounting exam with, you know, at 2 a.m.? Like, DeGroote is just such a comfortable place. It's so supportive, and it's just a place where I've met so many people, and I know that my future in DeGroote is just going to be an amazing one.
Nice. And finally, Daniel, what does the DeGroote community mean to you?
So DeGroote means a lot to me. It's really a great community where I've made a lot of friends and met a lot of people. And I've also made many memories, not just at social gatherings or in class, but even at different events where you can meet people and really pick their brain on certain business issues. And I really love how everyone at DeGroote has different types of interests in business, and you can really learn a lot from that. Like, I have one friend who's really into investing and one friend who's really into marketing. I've really learned a lot just from talking to them, seeing their different opinions. And lastly, what I really love about the group is that everyone's willing to help each other. Unlike certain other business schools where everyone's just like, I want to get a good grade, I need to sabotage someone else to do that. Here, it's really, if you need help on accounting, you just send a text, send a DM, they'll help you. It's a great way to do it, and it's a great way to have a business school.
Great. Thank you for that. So our next question is, what do you think are the biggest challenges facing DeGroote students today, and how do you plan on addressing them? So we're going to start with, we'll answer this first.
Sorry,
who?
Oh, sorry, I said that Daniel will be answering that question first.
So biggest challenges facing students today?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously right now there's a lot of different challenges that people within DeGroote are facing. And a main one could be right now, especially today, it could be like mental health issues, because we've really been cooped up for such a long time in our houses. And by the time the school year starts, who knows, it's 3-4 months. So, in a way to mitigate those mental health issues and like really foster like a great DeGroote school business is like have really good events in September that are fun and can really take the stress off people's minds from starting school again after not having a true summer vacation. And another big worry within the people within DeGroote school business would probably be their finances and seeing how much they have to work now this upcoming year, given the fact that they couldn't work this summer, and seeing how they can have a good work-life balance by not only having to do school and maybe take on a job, but be involved within the Commerce Society. So those are some of the challenges I would say that are being faced today within our DCS community.
All right, thank you. And Jonathan, what do you think the biggest challenge is?
So I think the biggest challenge facing DeGroote right now would be, the obvious one is online school. Finishing first year like that was pretty unpleasant, and definitely being at home, I lack like the social connection that I normally have with people. So my goal is, like I mentioned earlier, I have planned many different online events that I feel like would provide avenues for support and de-stressing that would build on those social connections while also allowing them to develop further skills with their school. Like, you need to find that balance, like I mentioned, as like is my theme. So with that balance, you can find the social aspect that's important that you might be missing in online school.
Thank you. Shiza.
Okay, so like everyone mentioned before, I think there's a big emphasis on like COVID-19 and how we're going to evolve as students, like either in DeGroote or just anywhere. And I think the 3 things that I want to focus on, or like what the challenges are for students, like their motivation has gone down significantly in these last few months, and their mental health and participation and like wanting to be involved in things other than school. So I think having more relaxed events that's not school related, that are more social based. So those can either be online or in person. Like Pag said, like I had come up with like maybe we could do like one big Kahoot game for all of DeGroote and like just host it all together. Or in person, there can be so many more events that can occur. And also for the participation and feeling like you want to participate in more after school like activities, kind of, there's always free food, so everyone loves free food or just free merch, so we can get work on that.
True.
All right, thank you. Harper?
During the special period, I think the biggest challenge is connection. One thing commerce is different from other faculties, and networking and work experience are essential, especially for the second year who is going to apply internship next year. They need experience to fulfill the resume so that they can have higher possibility to get a job. I think we can provide more events online to increase the networking between students, or organize some tutoring class for the group students in the group chat so that some students can act like teacher or TA to get some experience.
All right, great, thank you. Also, so I know I mentioned rebuttals earlier. So does anyone have any rebuttals they'd like to give for the first 2 questions answered? All right. Sorry to put you on the spot like that. If anyone for the remainder of the debate has any rebuttals that they want to give, feel free just to drop the type the word rebuttal in the chat so that I know to interrupt the flow of people answering questions so we can look at that. Yeah, I guess I didn't really create a great system for that at the start. So next question, what is unique about your platform? And we'll start, and we're going to start with Jonathan. Jonathan, you're on mute right now.
Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, I just lost myself. Sorry, can you repeat the question for a second? Sorry.
What is unique about your platform?
So what is unique about my platform, sorry again, everyone, is that I center my thing around student life balance. So I used to be a very shy individual, and I would never really step outside my comfort zone. And so I found that, participating in many different events allowed me to find, expand my comfort zone, but also find the balance and help my time management. So more importantly, I want to make sure that everyone finds that student life balance that revolves around social, academic, and work-related responsibilities. Because when you find that key to finding the balance between them, you find yourself more successful. I personally had a lot of confidence in first year because I strive to find the balance between those things. And I believe that the inclusivity of my events can help other people follow in the same path.
All right, great, thanks. And Shiza?
Okay, so one thing that I think I'm really vouching for is creating a comfortable and a safe space for everyone. So I do realize that not everyone is interested in these big social events maybe some of the ones we've had in the past. So I want to create a space where people of who are introverted, extroverted, in between feel comfortable joining in and being social. So I do want to be super approachable and really laid back as a representative. I want to be even already I've gotten a couple DMs asking for what I'm looking for, and these are people I haven't talked to, but they're still in the DIC community. So I do feel I've started to do my job, even though I've not got the position yet. But I do want to create that approachable and comfortable space for people to talk to and ask questions, even if it's not about the DCS or just in general.
Great. And Harper, what is unique about your platform?
Sorry, what do you mean by the platform?
When you're looking at what you want to get elected based on, what is unique about what you're doing that sets you apart from the other candidates that people should vote for you?
I think the unique thing about my platform is that I want to enable students to develop and strengthen some skills and connect with various agencies and assist them to having their voice heard and share experiences. And I also want to serve to inform and speak for their distinctive needs and concerns and make sure they have a safe environment.
All right, great, thanks. And finally, Daniel, what is unique about your platform?
So I would say I'm a pretty unique person. I'm a little different from everyone. I have my different character traits. But what's really unique is how I will handle and tackle different events, whether that be online or in person. Also, I'll use different communication techniques to get student interaction, and that can include things like social media, but could also be introducing a poll system to see what people really want within the DCS. And I also really think that now that's really unique about my campaign is I really want to push social interaction over school, because anyone can really learn formulas and accounting techniques, but learning how to react to different situations and business events is really something that can push you forward for the rest of life and change your whole entire outlook. And lastly, I'd really like to add many resume building opportunities for people, especially now that things may move to online.
All right, great. Thanks. So next we're going to be, so for our next question, I know we've kind of talked a lot about just sort of general ideas, but we want to look at what are your specific ideas for Student Appreciation Week or General Year Council events? So we're looking for, specific ideas here, and we're going to start with Shiza.
Okay, so I don't have like a bunch of super ideas, but I did want to have a lot of emphasis on like social interaction, whether that be within a large group or smaller groups. So I do want to create many different activities that would be either on a big scale, like having a performer, like a motivational speaker, and then do have a bunch of smaller activities, kind of like where people can get to know people either in their program or in IBH or in regular commerce. So like something like that could be like a breakfast brunch or something, or I just want to have a variety of different events. And also for online things, like I mentioned before, if school is online due to Corona, we can have big events, like not big events, it'd be like you can stay at home, but you can just host one big like everyone can watch a movie together, or like a big Kahoot game. So something just to get the community more involved, even though we're at home.
All right, great. Thanks. Harper, what are your specific ideas?
For the Student Appreciation Week, and I think we can add something related to the local business, like some tour to the local business or networking with the business team. I think it is inspirational for students who does not experience this before. In addition, I think it is a good way to interact with other business school students in Ontario by holding some online networking, so that we can exchange ideas with each other.
All right, great. Thanks. Daniel, what are your specific ideas?
So I have a variety of different ideas that can be implemented for a Student Appreciation Week. So one major one would be a nice fun gathering by meeting people through sport, for example. So it could almost be like an obstacle course or sort of like a summer camp. And I really think those build great networking opportunities where people could be randomly selected on teams and do, let's say, a water gun fight or during an obstacle course. And another thing could be a games night. And that's another great way, playing things such as poker. I in particular really enjoyed that commerce night we had at this medicine building, and I think I really met maybe 5 to 10 people that I was really good friends with by the end of the year. And events like that with like free food and swag giveaway, especially giving away, I think the group school business sweater would be a great way for people to wear it all year round and really feel like they're presented at the DCS. And lastly, if things are moved online, obviously trivia night could be a great way to meet people, as well as Omega's where like you talk face to face with someone for like 10 seconds. It's kind of like a little icebreaker game. So that could be another great way to enhance Student Appreciation Week.
All right, thank you. Finally, Jonathan.
So I also have a variety of events. The first one was so I'm thinking of like a commerce themed trivia night, and then you can have a prize for the winners. So you could have topics such as like DCS services, accounting, finance, as well as like general facts about like present day market and successful companies, like, you know, when did the iPhone come out or something like that. And I was also thinking you could have like a DCS themed karaoke where you only sing songs about money. I think that would be hilarious. And then lastly, also to create a DCS podcast, and so that we could almost do like a limited run of different themes, and we could invite like profs, alumni, and students the feature on the podcast to try to get a more academic event going while also having the more social ones above. And if it gets moved to online, I think it'd be really cool to do like a paint along with Bob Ross type thing where everyone can get their supplies and then just, you know, follow the person painting.
All right, great. That was probably my favorite round of answers yet. I had some great ideas, bold answers in there. Love it.
Bold, yeah.
All right. So, a bit more of a personal question here. What are some leadership skills you have that would make you ideal for this role? So we're going to be starting with Harper.
I have leadership skills like team building, and I enjoy teamwork and goal and releasing problems inside the group. And I also have the decisiveness skill, which means I can make decisions quickly depend on different kind of situations and change it if the decision is not proper.
All right, thank you. Daniel.
So I think I have many leadership skills that would make me ideal for this role. So first off, I have a pretty decent public speaking ability and a way of like talking to people and really listening to their problems. I'm also pretty good at conflict mitigation skills, and like there's been a lot of times where two people have gone to a conflict, I try to break it up. I'm also a pretty good problem solver, and I don't always take the easiest avenue, but the most effective one. I'm also very decisive, and I think that's a very big quality in a leader, especially when you're in like dire and more short-term situations that has to have a resolution quickly. And lastly, I'm also a democratic leader who really listens to all the different voices and then comes together to make the best solution.
All right, thank you. Jonathan.
So the leadership skills I possess that would make me ideal for this role. First off, I want to start with responsible. You know, I'm always there and I make sure that I'm accountable and on top of the work I have to complete. And I'm open to hearing you guys and your ideas, and I make sure that I account for all of those things. Secondly, I'm analytical. I find that I'm very good at problem solving, and you know, if there's an issue, I feel like I can quickly find a quick fix to it to make sure that, you know, events run smoothly or ideas are portrayed properly. And I think that the probably most important was, and I'm personable. You know, I'm a people person, and I love to talk to people and have conversations with people. The first week, welcome week, I literally strive myself on just trying to talk to as many people as possible. And some of my friends still make fun of me to this day about that. But I met just so many wonderful people, and I just love meeting new people and, you know, hearing their side of the story or something like their opinion or their background, etc. I love just learning stuff like that.
All right, great. Thank you for that. And Shiza? Shiza, you're on mute right now.
Sorry, I didn't know it was muted. But I was just saying, I do think I possess a bounty of leadership skills, and the three I kind of want to focus on. I've been told that I'm very resourceful. Like, you know, when people ask, like when I ask people, oh, what would you use to describe me? A lot of people say I'm resourceful, and like when something goes wrong or when you plan something but it doesn't go your way, I think I have a really good like quick mind on like how to fix it and how to get to the solution, even though we went over this little hurdle. And I am very enthusiastic, so I can be very like when I want to preach for something, I can be very enthusiastic about my opinions and my decisions. And at the same time, I also think I'm very communicative, so I can be very loud and blunt, but at the same time, I know when to stop and I know when to listen. So I think it's important for a leader to have that type of balance, because you need someone who can step up, but at the same time, you need someone who knows when to step down and to listen to what everyone has to say and go forth with the decision that everyone comes up with.
Thank you. And okay, yeah, everyone answered that one. All right, so our next question is it's also a bit of a personal reflection, and that is, why are you interested in this role? We're going to start with Daniel to answer this question.
So, I'm interested in this role for many reasons. First off, I love interacting with others and also helping others to meet their needs, and especially people within the group school business. A lot of these people I know, and I really would enjoy, like, it would really give me great joy helping them and getting them to events that they would really appreciate. And it also suits my personality, and I'm pretty outgoing and love talking to others. And lastly, I've really always enjoyed politics and using it for good and really getting a grasp of the situation at hand and the climate that people are facing. So with COVID, that would be one of the things that I would love, one of the issues I would love to tackle and see how we can really find a way to make the group school business and the group commerce society a great place in spite of what's happening.
All right, thank you. Jonathan?
So I'm interested in this role for various reasons. The first one being I was a part of first year council, and in doing so, we engaged with students with various events like a Hamilton trivia with prizes, exam de-stressor bags, and events. Like in one event, we built a stress ball. And then I was also part of the consultation committee for residence life in first year council, where we discussed things about, residence costs. And then I was also in JDCC incubator, which was the first club I was actually at school. And basically, I want to combine what I learned in student engagement and the social aspects of first year council and combine that with the more academic approach of, DCS clubs and incubator, and incorporate both those into events that I bring to the table in this role.
All right, thank you. Shiza?
Okay, so like I said before, I do want to be able to be in a position that I am able to give back to the group or just the students in general. So I think this would be a really good way for me to do that. And I love planning events and networking. So I think this is also like the perfect role for that. So I was also part of my school's student council back in high school. So we did a lot of events, like we did cake decorating contests and like a school-wide trivia and movie night. So I feel like I could bring a lot of those ideas back into the DCS and make it feel more comfortable for everyone.
All right, great, thank you. And finally, Harper.
I'm interested to be a connection between the group commerce society and the second year students, because I can get a sense of achievement by helping others' voice heard. I also want to make it possible for students to achieve the goals that they have not been achieved before. As a crucial role in the student experience, there are many benefits to my personally. This is also a wonderful opportunity to learn some soft skills like negotiation skill and cooperation skills.
All right, great, thank you. And so our next question is looking at the fact that I think the increasing reality that we're all starting to accept is that everything will be likely online. So this year, engaging students online has become increasingly important. How do you plan to effectively engage with the DeGroote students via online platforms? And we're going to start with Jonathan.
So the way, everyone's been on, the app TikTok. Everyone watches those trends all the time, and they love like doing them. So I think first off, besides the obvious of using social media and TikTok and analyzing those trends and using those trends, like I mentioned earlier, I'd want to do a paint along with Bob Ross, and even like a book club. I feel like if you give people the time to read the book and then you come back to it, you can discuss different topics, like different business or leadership topics, maybe something like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then in that book club, you can kind of talk about it. So you almost get a more social, but also academic event going. And then also, And then, thank you.
All right, great. And Shiza?
You're muted again.
Sorry, I keep forgetting I'm doing that, but I think Instagram is one of the biggest ways that people can network. And I don't know about you guys, but like whenever I see those polls on Instagram, I always vote for them, even though I never watch stories. Whenever it's a poll, I always like it's like, oh, popcorn or chips or whatever. So I think that's a really fun way to do like the social side of it. We can also have like like I said before, like a trivia night or Kahoot and a movie night. But for more like academic wise things, I was thinking we can have like a tutoring classroom, like online based. So maybe we can get like a TA for like someone who's good at accounting can be online during these hours, and you can ask them questions, but you don't have to tell them like your name or anything, using anonymous platforms. And yeah, speaking on anonymous for like feedback and stuff, I think being anonymous is really important. So for forms, we can use that as well. And so yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Harper?
I think social media is a great way to connect and get in contact with each other. There are many types of communication, such as social media and email. And I think we can also create an account on Instagram to provide a place to express their opinion directly. Besides, I think YouTube is also a good way to post the newest information and interesting things happening in Beirut. And for the international students who seldomly use Instagram like Chinese, it is effective to post something via WeChat.
All right, thank you. And finally, Daniel?
So again, I would love social media is a one main way where we can really interact with different students, and also announcement emails. And I find those are very helpful, especially regarding the DCS. And also really posting things on social media where showing a face and really giving it more of a personal touch. Because sometimes when people post things, it's just like a picture of something with a caption underneath. But if you really get a video of someone talking about what the DCS is doing, I feel like more people will watch it because it's more of a personal touch. And also I'd love to host a lot of polls to see what people think about not only different business topics, but what events should be hosted. And lastly, as I already mentioned, an Omegle where a little icebreaker meet and greet could be in place, because especially as business students, meeting different people within our faculty is a very important way to network and maybe find a future business partner.
All right, thank you for that. So now we're going to move on to some more situational questions to be asking. So our first one is, how would you handle the DCS executive team rejecting an idea that you worked hard on?
Does it matter who starts?
So we're going to start with Shiza for this.
Okay, so obviously, not every idea that you put out there will become a reality. And I think it's important to remember that obviously everything happens for a reason. And even though that you worked really hard on it and you might have gotten some support along the way, but in the end, there was like it didn't go through. It doesn't matter like if your end goal was reached, but rather than like the process that you went through. Maybe there's so many things that you learned throughout the process. And I think that's more valuable than maybe reaching your end goal, because that wasn't in your hands. So just take best of the situation and realize what you could do better for next time.
Thank you. And Harper?
I think the conflict is almost everywhere in our life. When I face this kind of problems, like I learned in organizational behavior class this year, first I need to identify the current state. I need to realize what causes conflicts and what raises the situation. Then consider the desired state. Think about what is the ideal situation I want to achieve, and then measure the gap, close the gap, which means to release these conflicts and do it better next time.
All right, thank you. Daniel?
So I would say, especially when things don't go your way or it's a failed opportunity, I think that's when it's really best to learn from your mistakes and to improve on the future. And it's almost necessary for that to happen. And really, you want to mitigate the conflict that would come with, let's say someone rejects your idea and you work really hard on it. You do have to realize that like you have to do what's good for the common good. And sometimes it's not what you want or what you think, but it's what everyone as a collective does. And lastly, in politics, sometimes people won't agree, and you'll just have to, that's just how the business of it works. And the last thing I would say is that you have to really look at it as like a sunk cost fallacy. Like just because you put a lot of work into it, if it wasn't good enough, then you have to reflect on why it wasn't and improve on it for the future.
All right, great. And Jonathan?
So I think that would be a great opportunity to see how like impartial I am. Obviously, if it's like my own idea or my catered idea, I'm gonna have some sense of bias towards it. But it's important to try to remove myself from the situation and see, why was it rejected? Like, let's dig deeper into it. Like, by understanding, maybe what was wrong with it, I can see it for myself instead of remaining biased, while also taking that feedback into account so that my next proposition can incorporate the feedback and hopefully have a stronger presence in the decision-making process.
All right, thank you. And yeah, okay. So in September, the representative for first year will be getting elected, and if this first year rep is struggling to lead the lower year council with you alongside yourself, how would you help them succeed? So we're going to be starting with Harper.
Sorry, could you please repeat the questions?
So there's going to be, so in September, when you're, so essentially the role of year rep looks over the lower year council. The second year, the second year rep looks over the lower year council alongside the first year rep. This first year rep will be someone who's just came to university. So they're just here, they just got elected into the position. And let's say they're struggling in their role to lead the council with you. How would you work with them to ensure success?
I think first I can be very patient to hear about their problems and difficulties they are facing now, and I can act like the professional person to teach them some experiences and give them some advices of how to negotiate and how to deal with some problems that they face now.
All right, thank you. And Daniel?
So, especially for the first years coming in, you have to realize that we have some more experience over them, especially as a university student, and what that entails with the work-life student balance. And I would really try and guide them and help reach out to them in order to not only enhance their student experience, but help them with their role. And this can be in the form of giving tips or really just listening to their problems and like going through them how to solve it. And we all know that we don't have an abundance of time, but really trying to do it in a time efficient manner. And lastly, I would try really not to get mad, because some people, when there's a conflict or something's not going wrong, they quickly put the blame on someone or something else. But it's better just to work through the situation and find the best outcome instead of getting angry.
All right, thanks. And Jonathan?
So I think firstly, I would just reassure them that transitioning into first year is a very difficult experience for many people, and that, it's important that you have that sense of balance. I would want to listen to, what issues they're dealing with, and maybe I can help them. I mean, obviously, already experiencing first year, there's different things we know that a first year wouldn't. So it's important to ask, what are they dealing with, and try to come up with a plan that would accommodate them in the best possible way, whether that's timing or meeting with them more or less, or doing joint projects with them, or like, etc. You can do that and find the best plan of action so that they have more confidence in themselves and that they don't feel too stressed out due to the transition of first year.
All right, thank you. And Shiza?
Okay, so I think one of the main reasons that they might not be the best at leadership, if this happens, might be their personal connection, like to the DCS. So obviously we all are starting to get to know each other, and like there's gonna be like a team and they all know each other. And from someone who's coming straight out of high school into like a group of people they don't really know, that might be out of their comfort zone. So they might feel a little disassociated. So for them to transition their high school skills might be a little difficult into university. So maybe I'll take them like on, if there's school in the fall, I might take them on like one-on-one dates and really listen to their problems and listen to what their ideas are. Maybe they might be too shy to say them. So I think they all just need a little bit of encouragement and make them feel comfortable enough to say whatever they need to whenever they want to. Yeah.
All right, great. thanks. So let's see here. So, this question is a bit of a trickier one, and I apologize to anyone in the audience if this one hits close to home for any just finishing up second years right now. So let's say that there's a professor teaching a general commerce course that is disliked by most students in the course. How would you try your best to resolve this situation?
Who
So
started?
we're going to start with Daniel for this one.
Okay. Can I just have a moment? Sorry.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So I would say so if it's a really disliked prof, this can happen anywhere, anytime, from elementary school to high school to university. And what I would say is personally, maybe I would meet with a prof if it was becoming such a big issue, or maybe someone, a middleman, someone to talk to them and see why people are having problems, or maybe shoot them a little email. But I also maybe talk to the students and see where they can improve, because sometimes people don't like a prof because he creates a little bit too much work, or that it's something is not clear to them, but it's clear to someone else. And especially in the workplace, you're always going to get that boss who you don't like, or that teacher that you don't like. But the main thing is you really have to find a way to mitigate that conflict and be able to help both parties involved, not only the prof to continue to teach that course, as well as the students to have a good experience taking the course.
All right, thank you. Jonathan.
So first of all, I would send out like a mass poll to that class, asking them for their feedback and what specifically do they not like about the prof, or what are they having trouble with in that class. And then I could take that bundled answers and let's analyze it a little bit and see, if this keeps coming up, like there's, the workload's too much, something like that, where there's like everyone saying that specific thing, then I would meet with the prof and try to understand his perspective. But I also want to make sure that like I'm not biased just to the students. Like you have to take in the opinions of both the students and the prof to try to generate the best like action plan. Like just because, students might not like something because it's hard, but it's hard for a reason, and that's only going to help you improve in the future. So I would just meet with both and try to find the best balance and reassure both sides, maybe a way to fix the discrepancy in between them.
Thank you. Shiza?
Okay, so obviously the first thing is to recognize a problem, and that might be on the student's end or that might be on the teacher's end. So like Jonathan said, we'd have like some sort of a feedback form, or just a way for students to let us know like what is the problem. And then also we have to kind of see how the professor sees his class. Maybe he doesn't think that there's anything wrong, or maybe he doesn't feel as though like students don't like him. Maybe he just thinks he's doing everything right. So obviously like to sit down with him and let him know that this is what your students think of you, and maybe your teaching style might not be the best. And for something like for if he's not willing to do that or whatever, maybe there might be some students who have already taken the class and who kind of enjoyed it. So maybe we can ask them for like tips and tricks and like encouragement to like get through that class for a bit. So yeah, it's just a little hurdle that everyone has to learn how to get through.
All right, thank you. And finally, Harper?
I think this kind of situation is pretty common in the real life, and if it happened in the university, I think I can firstly think from the professor's point of view and talk to him first to try to reduce some bias and ask for feedback and find a best way to relieve the problem. I think if there is if the students don't like the teaching styles of the professor, we can negotiate with him, or just accept the reality. Or if there is some if the professor have some bias or have something wrong with his personality, I think we can we can fire him. we can talk about talk to the academic advisor and think about the other matters.
Thank you. All right, and one final question before we move on to our audience questions that we've been collecting throughout the debate is, how will you make the voice of your year heard? So we'll start with that one. We'll start with Jonathan.
So how would I make your voice heard? So first off, at the beginning of the year, I'd send out like a blast email with my information, how to reach me, and a bit about myself. And so that you all kind of get a sense of who I am and then how you can reach me. I will hold office hours and make sure that you guys can just come in. It's a safe space, freely talk about what you want. And I will offer my ears to you, and I will listen to what you're saying. And, you know, I really love hearing the diverse aspects of everyone's opinion, and I love incorporating that. So, yeah, office hours, social media, I'll always be, you know, on Instagram responding to DMs, and I'll make sure that everything you send to me, I like record and then organize so that I can, you know, formulate different events or find solutions to problems with those various concerns and ideas.
All right, great. Thanks. Shiza?
Okay, so like I said before, I do want to make sure I'm super approachable, and I think I can do that by, I think Daniel said this before, but creating like a face to my social media. So I've already tried to do that. Like I've cracked a bunch of jokes on my like captions and stuff, but yeah, I do want to make sure I'm super approachable, and maybe like a way to do that is hosting like Instagram lives. So where people can do this like a question and answer thing. So that would be like fast answers. And if that's not like a super popular thing, obviously I'll have like anonymous forms that people can submit their feedback on. And I do want to make sure like I'm not like promising anything false, like giving people fake promises. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So I do want to be real with everyone. And yeah, I'll be on social media all the time. I'm on Twitter all the time. So when people just want to talk, I'm down to just respond to your DMs, whether it be about the DCS or just school in general. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Harper?
First, I'm going to have more communication with the second-year students through the social medias, and create an Instagram account to receive the advices from the students. In addition, I can also make something like questionnaires or initiate a vote to know more about their preferences and opinions toward various events.
All right, thank you. And finally, Daniel?
So obviously I'll try my best to make everyone's voices heard, and not just the people I know, but everyone within the DCS, within the Second Year Commerce Society. And I also obviously will be running polls through Google Forms and other avenues, and not just polls based off of like what events we should hold, but like maybe what things in second year have been giving people worry, how to better improve certain clubs, and what clubs people would like to see. And lastly, I obviously would like to post videos, and I'm going to really stay active on my page so that I can really help improve the experience of others and make sure everyone feels like they're involved in this collective goal.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to move on to a few questions we've been getting from the audience. So the first one we're going to be looking at is this one got asked a few times in a few different ways. So I'm just gonna try and put it all into one. But essentially, if you were to change one thing through your role within the DCS, what would you change?
Do you mean like the power people hold, or like?
If you look at the DCS as a whole, the structure of what it is, what it does, everything that goes on, everything under the umbrella of the DeGroote Commerce Society, if there's one aspect of it, if you could really see one thing magically change, what within the confines of your role, I think, obviously, what would you change? So we're going to start with Shiza.
Okay, so I think this year I've been following a lot of the degree accounts and stuff, and I've been pretty aware of like the events and stuff. But I think for the DCS, I wasn't too like educated on what like the DCS actually does. Like I just understood it was like a degree, like the Commerce Society, but I didn't really understand what they did, or like I got other clubs, like I got DECA and I got like the Accounting Society, but I do want to make it super clear to everyone what the DCS is, either for other second years, because I know a bunch of other second years do feel this, or like my years feel the same way. Like they were like, oh, like what are you running for? What is it for? What's your job? So I do want to make it like super clear what the DCS does, and like how people can get involved for that. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Harper?
This year, I experienced something like 24-hour quiz competition, and I realized that the experience is extremely important in commerce field. And I know that we have many quiz competitions in MAC, but lots of students like me, they do not have any experience in quiz competition. So they seldomly participate in this kind of events, even though they have interest. So I think one thing I want to change is then to add more experiences for the students. Like we can hold some professional quiz competition show by organizing some students who is good at doing quiz competition, and we can participate as the audience to watch the process. Then there will be more students to join these events later.
All right, thank you. Daniel?
So I'd really like to, as Shiza said, have a main page with everything and keep people educated on what every event is and what every club is. I know there's a DCS website, but sometimes it's kind of unclear like which club should be joined if you have this specific interest, or how long how many events you should have to attend. And I really think that what the DCS could benefit for was an organized Google Calendar showing all the different events and club meetings instead of having them on all the different Instagram pages or all the different websites. And lastly, one thing I would really change is try and hold more social gatherings within the DCS itself throughout the year, because I think after like Welcome Week in the first months of school when people are meeting people, there could be like one every semester where there's like a big event where people can meet others and network with different people within the program.
All right, thank you. And finally, Jonathan?
So I personally found that during Welcome Week, I learned a lot about the many the group clubs, but then I felt like after that, I didn't really hear as much about them. And I felt like there should be a more like consistent way to know how to get involved during like specific parts of the year, or at, maybe you want something that's second term, or like, it's just, I feel like it lacked a bit of consistency. And even on the DCS website, the like get involved usually just features kind of like what they currently have you getting involved in, but it'd be nice to know, what can I get involved in like certain like seasons or certain like months of the year, so that you're better informed of like when you can apply to things.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So moving on to our next question from the audience. This one's a bit longer, but I think is definitely an interesting one. So let's say you have a first year come to your office hours, or just speak to you about being concerned about whether to drop a course or not, or potentially take it in summer school. How would you handle this situation, and what resources would you recommend to the person? So we're going to start with Harper.
Okay. Could you please repeat the question?
All right. So let's say you have a first year that comes up to you. So this is, a first year student, and they're just nervous, they're maybe panicking a little bit, and they're trying to figure out whether, or maybe they're just trying to generally figure out whether they're in a course right now that they're not feeling the best about. So in this course, they're thinking about maybe dropping it, taking it in the summer. They're not really sure what to do. And how would you handle a situation like this?
Okay, I think everyone is different and they have different ability of learning. I think he or she can first enroll the 5 courses for one semester and have a try for the first week. If he or she think that uh, he can handle the situation and he have enough time to learn all of these courses, I think then he don't need to worry about drop a course. And if she or he really doesn't have the ability to learn 5 courses at the same time, I think they can think about to take it during the summer school. It's also a wise decision.
All right, thank you. Daniel.
So the first thing I would say is, let's say it's a big issue, I would refer them to our great guidance team down at the DSB lobby. There they can chat with people who would either be more educated on the issue and task at hand, and also they could email Buscom relating to which courses they should take and which courses are available to them, and get some guidance there. I would also give them our personal input relating to our experiences. For example, if it's a mandatory course versus an elective, I think for a mandatory course, I would probably see it through and go with it, because those are the courses that you have to take and build upon until business 2. But if it's an elective, I would probably tell them that like everyone's different, and take things that truly interest you, and not just because it's a bird course, but something that interests you and helps enhance you as a student.
All right, thank you. And Jonathan?
So first of all, I try to attempt to understand, why is the course not working? Is it too much of a course load? Do you not like the course? Like I would make them understand that, if taking that extra course is going to have a negative impact on your mental health and well-being, then it's probably something you could probably push to summer school. But I would also want to make them understand that, university is like a long-term thing. Like it's 4 years, you can play with your courses very easily, and it's important to understand, don't be short-sighted about it. Make sure you look at the long term. And then lastly, I would refer them to the academic advisor, because they obviously have dealt with more cases of specific actions like that versus me. But I would also give my own personal opinion, and maybe that of friends I have that maybe experience similar differences with those specific courses.
All right, thank you. And finally, Shiza?
So I do recognize that the student came to me, so I guess they realized that I'd be some sort of help to them. So I will do my best. I'll sit with them and I'll go through their calendar and maybe see where the fault is, if it's in his time management or his stress management. If not, they can go and talk to the prof of that class and ask them maybe for tips and tricks. And I will recommend them to sign up for FYOP, because I know that really helped me first year. And I talked to my mentor a lot, and I even talked to some of my mentor's friends, and they all had a variety of opinions, and that really helped me with some of the courses I was taking in. And obviously, like Jonathan said, the academic advisors in the DSB are really useful too. So just booking a 15-minute appointment with them and sitting with them and talking to them is really useful, and they really give clear advice.
All right, great. Thanks everybody for that one. So our next audience question is, how would you communicate to students what the DCS is? So we're going to start with Daniel.
Okay, one moment. So the DCS, how I would communicate what it is. So first off, through word of mouth and telling my peers and the people I know within the Drew School of Business what they do and what they stand for and what events they hold in clubs. But also, as I said, having a centralized page where people can really understand what different initiatives that the DCS is taking, whether that be on Instagram or a website, and maybe add things to our website to see what not only the different clubs and events that the DCS currently has, but different initiatives they're looking to do, and maybe volunteer opportunities that you can get involved with in DCS, because as we know, business is not just about profiting and making money, but it's also about helping others and building a great community within the degree school business.
Thank you. Jonathan?
So I would explain the DCS as a strong community that revolves around obviously business. So the DCS holds many different events, clubs. You have the first year orientation program. You have first year formal. You have many different events, accounting club. You have very different things that help build, academic, but also social responsibilities and skills that are very useful in, the business world. But it's important to understand, again, following my theme, that you have that balance between all of them, and DCS strives to do that.
All right, thank you. Shiza?
Okay, so obviously, like everyone said before, the DCS is like a good balance of all the clubs kind of mixed together with the social and academic aspect. So to make sure everyone's constantly like updated on what the DCS is and like what we're doing in a sense, is to be consistent on social media. That's super important because a lot of people don't really read their emails. They're just like check them off. So social media is a really easy way to get your point across. And on that note, there are a lot of people who don't really use social media and they just have it for like networking purposes. So making sure like our website is always updated. So either with like yearly schedules or like bi-monthly schedules is also really efficient for people who can just check on the website. And yeah.
All right, thank you. And finally, Harper.
I'm going to tell them the DCS is a place to get a sense of unity, and it's also a place to get involved. It's not only a place to study, but to participate and enrich experiences. That offer to recommend the activities on Oscar Plus and various community and events to them.
All right, thank you for that. Let's see here. What is our next question? So this one, I know we kind of already asked a similar version of this question, but we're going to ask it again because I think some people want to see so the question is, what differentiates you from the other candidates up here? So what really sets each of you guys apart? We're going to start with Jonathan.
So I think what really sets me apart, as I mentioned earlier, is the fact that I'm very personable. Like, I basically center all the things I do around social interactions, and I just love being around people. So I think, having said that, I have very good listening skills that will help me, understand what people are going through and actually truly listen to what they're saying and their ideas, and then make sure that I actually recognize those ideas and, maybe write them down, organize them, see what common things happen. If many people are complaining about a certain issue, then obviously I'm going to direct my focus to that. So it's just really opening my ears and just really having that personable personality. And yeah. All
right, thank you. Shiza.
Okay, so I'd like to think I'm super loud and rambunctious when I need to be. So I feel like that does put like an approachable aspect to me. So yeah, a lot of my friends would call me super loud, super like obnoxious, but like when I need to be mature, I will be quiet and mature. But yeah, so I'd like to think I'm super funny and make light of all the situations. So even though there might be something that's going wrong, I will try my best to make light of the situation. And also one thing, as a representative, I don't want to be like, I've had experiences in the past where people have just always said yes to everything and not fulfilled like any of those promises. So I don't want to create like false hope and fake promises, but I do want to make sure that like I will use my capacity and my resources around me to grant these kind of wishes from like the student body.
Thank you. Harper?
First of all, I think I'm enthusiastic and patient, so I'm always like to hear from others about their advice and suggestions. I'm also creative, and I have many ideas toward every aspect of academic and life. And I joined lots of events in the past year, so I think I have many ideas toward that. Last but not least, I think as an international student, there are lots of Chinese in the commerce faculty, and I think this is a kind of resource.
Thank you. Daniel?
So I would say what differentiates me is I'm a hard worker, and I persevere when the situations get tough. And especially like over the years, I love being involved and really getting a sense of the student body. So I've done extracurriculars like throughout high school, including like basketball, trivia, stuff like that, and even in university in like JDCC and DECA. And all of those experiences really made me a better leader, a better person, and let me see things around the world in a different light. And lastly, I love what separates me too. I'm very kind and respectful to everyone of all backgrounds, all religions, all faiths, whatever it may be. And I have many diverse friends not only throughout high school, but now that are not only diverse by program, by where they're from, and even diversity in ideas and different political beliefs.
Thank you. And so our next question from the audience is, let's see here, I just need to, oh, sorry, I just had it pulled up and I lost it. Take a moment to gather your thoughts. All right, so in one grammatically correct, proper sentence, could you please share one sentence with us on why you should be voted in? Or, yeah, on why they should be voted for, yes. All right, so we're gonna start with Shiza.
Can you give me like a sec?
Oh yeah, totally. Take a minute. I know it's hard to it's hard to try and get all the content into 1 second.
Okay. Are we ready? Okay, I think I'm ready.
All right, hit us with it.
Okay, so I'd love to be a part of the DCS team for my resourcefulness, my enthusiasm, and my dedication I will be putting towards the team.
Thank you. Harper? We can come back to you if that's all right. Let's go to Daniel.
So my sense would be, I'm the best person for this role because I'm a man by the people and for the people, and I will always serve and represent everyone to the best of my abilities as long as I serve. That's a very grammatically correct sentence there.
That was a powerful statement you got there. Jonathan?
I am committed to making your guys' voice heard, and I will use my personable nature and my dependable nature to make sure that you guys and everything you stand for is followed up in my role.
All right, thank you. And Harper?
I will try my best and use all of my resources to make sure your voice is being heard and speak for the distinctive needs and concerns.
Thank you. And we have one final question. Actually, I'm just going to check once again because we're about to ask our final question. So if anyone listening has more questions they'd like to submit, please do it soon, because our last question is a directed question at Daniel.
Okay.
So on your campaign page, some people a question was directed at us related to the posting of American political Trump memes and the hashtag #MakeTheGroot Great Again. would you care to address this to the audience?
So that was in jest, and obviously I neither took any side upon that issue because everyone has their own separate beliefs and opinions. But I just put a picture in of the debate because we're doing a debate today, and I think that was one of the more famous instances of a debate, the one between Trump and Hillary. And all I did was just to promote the page and maybe spark a little bit of reaction and garner a little bit of interest towards it. And I didn't mean, and a lot of people have been saying things like "make it great again." Nothing, that's not in the way that it's not great right now. It's just a saying that some people use, and I hope it did not intend to offend anyone. And to be honest, Trump is for example, I have no opinion on him or his beliefs or anything, but that's just something that's in pop culture today.
All right, thank you for that. I think, yeah, it's great that you can speak to that. Let's see here. I'm just refreshing my document right now to see if I have been sent any last questions, and it does not appear so. So now we're going to follow up with a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate, where you can sum up everything you feel, everything maybe we missed out on, anything like that. So let's start with those with Shiza.
Okay, so I'd love to be part of the DCS team and give back to DeGroot in a way that's helpful to others. With my enthusiasm, resourcefulness, and approachability, I hope to make this year a really memorable one, even though it might be online, with events that'll be focused on social interaction and social distancing. Haha, get it? I hope to bring some ideas and enthusiasm to the DCS team, and I'm excited to use social media as a new platform instead of going to school in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Harper?
I want to say thank you to everyone who spent time for watching the debate, and I feel grateful to share my opinions on this page, and I also learned a lot. No matter what is the results of the election, I will still try my best to participating in DCS activities and doing contribution to the student community. And I really want to try my best to make this year a wonderful year, and I want to use all the measures to make sure your voice is being heard. And if you believe in the idea I raised in the previous questions, please vote for me. Thank you.
Daniel?
So in closing, I really hope I get the opportunity to represent my peers. It would be an honor and a privilege to represent everyone. And DeGroot is a great place with great people, and I hope to continue to serve everyone's needs. And if I get this role, I'll answer any questions or take any suggestions that could help improve the DCS. And lastly, I hope any of my memes I posted do not offend anyone or in any facet or capacity, or just to spark some interest with the campaign. Thank you.
All right, and finally, Jonathan.
So first of all, I just want to thank DCS for setting up this wonderful debate. It was a very creative way to share my thoughts and also hear about the other candidates. And I wish the candidates here the best of luck. And I just want to stress one more time that I want, through my events, to help you guys find the equilibrium between work, social, and academic responsibilities. And being that it most likely will be an online semester, I want to stress the importance of de-stressors and social bonds through events like, Painting with Bob Ross or, a book club that would help create those bonds, but also make sure that, the social aspects are there and that the well-being of everyone, I'm supporting here to be present. So thank you guys, and hope to be your person for this year.
All right, and I think that just about concludes our debate. Thank you for everyone who's been watching at home or who's going to be watching this probably at a later date. And thank you guys for coming out to our debate. I think it's been a great time. And come on, guys, it wasn't as bad as we said it was going to be. Everyone thought it was going to be. And yeah,
Thanks,
great. Laura, final announcements?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted. Oh no.
Let's be brief. So I just want to thank you guys for coming. I'll make sure to send a little follow-up email afterwards, just thanking everybody. And for anyone watching, I want to remind you that this is all being recorded and it'll be on our website for you to view later. So once again, thank you so much for coming. I know it's kind of tricky and you were really brave to come out and share your opinions today.
All right, and actually one last thing to all our candidates, make sure to go on to our Discord and give everyone watching right now, make sure to plug your social media on the Discord channel right now, just so that everyone can follow up and like all of your spicy memes, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.